Hi guys, my name is Kobicha. I'm a blogger from Ghana. I'm a Ghanaian, and guess what? I visited South Africa a few days ago, and I said, "My back, South Africa, I think the right thing must be done. I have to come over to say hello to His Excellency, Honorable Mr. Charles Oredu, who is the ambassador here from Ghana to South Africa. So I'm very much humbled and privileged to have this conversation with him to talk about South Africa and the plans Ghanaians, that the plans they have for the people in South Africa and what collectively they are also doing, and his work, some of his challenges. Mr. Charles, how are you doing?
I'm good, boss.
First of all, thanks so much for giving us the opportunity to have this conversation with you.
Anytime.
Yes. For me, I'm sure I did quite some research about you.
Okay.
How's the family doing though?
So far so good. Yeah, so far so good.
So
Yes,
your family are here?
No, they came for holidays, but now they are in Ghana.
So you are here alone?
Yes, for the time being.
Wow, don't you miss them?
I do. But the plan is for them to, come back. Yeah, so they'll be coming in to settle here.
Good. So for how long have you been in here?
Barely 3 months now.
3 months?
Yeah, so far 3 months.
Wow. So who was here before you came?
Ambassador Isi Boateng.
Wow.
Yeah, he used to be the High Commissioner here.
Now, what goes into the appointment of the people who are supposed to represent Ghana in different countries?
Okay, so that is exclusively the prerogative of His Excellency the President. So he makes that determination. Once that determination has been made, he will submit the names to the Council of State. Then the Council of State will, because per the Constitution, it says that the nomination is done in consultation with the Council of State. So then the Council of State will also, make their pronouncement or a judgment on the nominee. Then you are appointed.
Good. Now let's turn ourselves around a bit. Now, for the purpose of those who don't know you, briefly, who is Honorable Charles Oredu?
Oh well, I was born in 1975 in Accra, but I'm from Achimafosu in the Eastern Region. The capital is New Ebrim. Yes, and I schooled in Accra in Gilbert School. Later, I went to Ghana National College in Cape Coast. Then I continued to the University of Cape Coast. Prior to that, I went to the Commander Training College in Commander, then later the University of Cape Coast. In terms of activism, like political activism, I started that at the University of Cape Coast. Yeah, so from there, I was drafted into the New Patriotic Party headquarters by Dan Boche. He was the General Secretary of the party then. Yes, he thought that I had some, qualities in me. And then he got Honorable Isaac Isiama, to draft me. So that was around 2003. So I worked for the New Patriotic Party from 2003 up till 2017. So about 14 years. I started as a research officer. Then I rose to become the first Director of International Affairs of the New Patriotic Party. When His Excellency the President won the elections, he thought that I could help, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So he appointed me as the Deputy Foreign Minister. This was from 2017 to 2021. Then for his second term, he thought that, okay, now he would want me to come to South Africa, to help here. So basically that's what I've been doing now. I'm married with 3 kids.
Wow, great. Now looking at your growth,
Yeah.
it's so amazing. It's so beautiful. Now let's talk about students and youth in politics. At that time when you were going into it, were you scared?
Not necessarily. On campus then at the University of Cape Coast, we had TAIN and we had TESCON.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was attending NPP meetings, like TESCON meetings. And then I was elected as the TESCON president, on campus. Yeah, so it was fun. We were attending by-elections, campaigning and all that. Yeah, so it was fun. Yes, and I thought that that was a very good platform for me. It's really that built me up. To be able to withstand some of the shocks in the system, and also got to know I worked under so many great political mentors then, and then so far I think that I can talk about people like Honorable Dan Boche. I can talk about Mark Menu, they've been really, really good in my political career.
Now, back home, a lot of youths find it very difficult, and as you say, they are scared to enter into politics. For those who are watching us, a lot of youths will have that passion to go into politics. Do you think that there's a fair grounds for, that you encourage a lot of youths to go into it?
Yes. Because if you want things done, now there's this clamor, to fix Ghana. How can you fix Ghana? Because if you're not an assembly member, if you're not a member of parliament, if you're not into government, of course, these days, you can be a journalist because we also factor them. But then that's where, the real action is. When the appropriation bill is sent to parliament, if, you are not somebody in there who can voice out some of these concerns, speak on behalf of your constituency, it becomes difficult. So I would encourage a lot of, in other jurisdictions, if you look at Europe now, we have young guys, leading these countries. The Prime Minister of Austria, for example, was very, very young. British former Prime Minister David Cameron was very, very young when he became. And France. Yes. And even in Canada, today, the Canadians are having an election. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister, he was so young when he became the Prime Minister. So it's encouraging. If you look at the president's team now, there are a lot of young guys in the system who are doing fantastically well. So I think that the future is the youth, and that future is now.
Amazing. Now you mentioned Canada and France. Per my research, you notice that those systems have an enabling environment to factor a lot of the youth. Yeah. In our case, now let me give you an example. I chanced on the National Youth Policy of Ghana, Youth Policy, and which was issued by Ekriasena Danso, then the late
Minister for Sports,
Minister
for Youth and Sports,
under the late President Atta Mills.
Yes.
And in some of the policies that I read, giving the platform and building an enabling environment for the youth of Ghana. Do you think that in Ghana, the government, or I'm not even talking about MPP, government over government, do you think that they've given that enabling environment to factor youth in their policies?
I think so. We have a lot of policies, that favor the youth in Ghana. If you look at the NYA, for example, you look at the YEA, for example, you look at NEIP, there's so many youth-related programs. I think that it is there, but we need to do more. I agree that policies per itself are not enough. We need to do a lot more to encourage, the youth, to take advantage of all these opportunities that do present themselves. I think that we can still do more than we are doing. But then, so far, for those who've used the youth as a platform, if you look at the NDC, for example, they've had the Patrick Omani, the Omani Boames, the Okudzeto Blackwers, they all started from the youth wing, the Haruna Idrisus and all that. And now look at where they are. If you look at the NPP, for example, Mustafa Hamid, even Dan Boche was the NUK's Secretary General. You look at Asabi, you look at Anta, most of these.
I think NDC has this young guy, communication director. What is his name?
Sami. Yeah, they are all, So I think that the opportunities are there, but we also have to conduct ourselves really well, and then take advantage of the opportunities.
Amazing. So my conversation with Honorable Charles already. Now let's talk about South Africa. You coming to South Africa? When you were appointed to come to South Africa, back up to your mind, what came to mind? Please be honest.
All right. So seriously, the His Excellency the President sent for me. So I went to the Jubilee House, and then he told me that he wants me to come to South Africa as the High Commission. I didn't. It was a shock to me. I was like, wow, South Africa. So okay. So then I thanked him, and then when I left the office, I called two people. The first person I called was my wife. Sweetheart, because when I was going to meet the president, I spoke to my wife. When the president is asked that I come to see him, so I told her the good news. After that, I called the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Shirley Ayeko Botche. She's also been a great mentor to me. and I called her to share the good news. She was also, so happy. Then later, my two political mentors, Mark Menu and Honorable Dan Boche, so they will all encourage me, But prior to that, I had been here a couple of times as a deputy minister, and even prior to that, as the director for international affairs, I used to come here. I came to inaugurate the NPP branch in South Africa, when I was the director for international affairs of the party. So I was quite, conversant, with the ins and outs of South Africa. I really enjoyed South Africa. Then,
Great. Now, I am still youth, and for future sake, I'm sure I'll still have to travel in school.
Yeah.
What is the plan for South Africa, Ghanaian students who are in South Africa?
Okay, so in terms of competitive advantage, South Africa presents itself as a very good country, to attract youth,
yes,
who want to further their education. If you look at schools in Europe, in the Americas, they charge the fees. In America, you end up paying $45,000 a year, $50,000 for a year. Canada, UK, end up paying about £20,000 a year, £15,000 a year for school. But you get in South Africa that same quality education that you get in Europe, you get in the US, but at a reduced cost. So that is the attraction. So you have a lot of Ghanaians coming in, you have a lot of West Africans coming in, and other people from across the world also coming in, taking advantage of this. They have the structures here, the education is good. The key thing is that, when people graduate and they don't want to return, I would think that I would encourage them to go back home to contribute to the socio-economic development of their country. But then if the person decides to stay over and take advantage of some of the opportunities here, I think that the system should be that flexible, to be able to recruit and accommodate them. And these are some of the challenges that Ghanaian students face. Sometimes when you interact with them, they say that the opportunities are few and they are skewed. And then that's one of the major things that I intend doing here, to engage the key stakeholders here, to create that opportunities for our people who want to contribute to their economic development. I think that they have a case if they say that is skewed, against them, but then we'll have to ensure that they have a lot of these opportunities so that they can also contribute.
But are you also creating the avenue in what sense? Organizing a workshop, internship for them?
Okay, so what we've done, that my deputy, I overheard him talking to your guy, that we'll be meeting some students. We are starting on the 2nd of October. That's next week, Saturday. Yes, we started meeting in the groups. I can't sit here and say that I know all the problems. I think that it's better to engage the students, tell you what they think the issues are, and you share, you discuss some of the solutions. And I intend doing that from the 2nd of October. So we are going to meet the last section of the youth here in Pretoria. Then on the 9th, we'll get to Johannesburg, to meet the people from Johannesburg area. Then we'll continue to the other parts of the country. You should also know that I also have jurisdiction over 4 other countries. I'm in charge of 5 countries.
Wow.
Seychelles, Mauritius, Eswatini, Lesotho, and South Africa. So not only here, Ghanaians are everywhere. I agree that majority are in South Africa.
Yes.
But then as we talk about South Africa, we should also talk about Ghanaians in Mauritius, Ghanaians in Lesotho, Ghanaians in Eswatini, and Ghanaians in Seychelles.
I don't know if this also falls under your department. The creative arts and tourism, Ghanaians, because I've seen a lot of Ghanaian musicians from Sarkodie to Shatawale to Stonebwoy to they all come in here to shoot music videos. Do you have any events planned for these people when they come? Is there any sort of an activity?
Okay, so when I got in 3 months ago, I got to know that I'm also, very frequent on social media. I got to know that a lot of these, celebrities do come here. I had calls from people like Sandra Kobia, Samini, and Trigmatic, who told me that they used
Trigmatic is always here.
Yes, yes. So then the last time Trig came here, we said, okay, Trig, why don't we meet? So Trig came over to this office, and then we sat down. Then, we agreed on certain things that, well, we have so many of our celebrities coming here. What can we do together?
Exactly.
Between the mission and these celebrities, to create that opportunity, to have that collaboration with South African musicians and South African people in the creative arts.
Yes.
So I've given Trig an assignment of which he's on. We have an inter-Africa trade fair coming up in November, where a lot of African businesses will be converging in South Africa, in Durban. Yeah, so I've asked Trig, to get in touch with the creative industry, meet some of his peers and see if we can put something together. So he's on the case now. And I want to speak to him probably after the interview today to find out how far he's gone. He's South African here, because he's always here.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that with Trig, we can put together a lot of. Apart from that, it shouldn't be about it. We would have to, put in institutional structures. So the plan is also to liaise with the Ministry of Tourism, and the Creative Arts Secretariat or industry to see how we can consolidate these, activities that we've started.
Amazing. I think one of the powerful things that we can use to push the Ghana agenda is culture.
Okay.
And our musicians are very powerful.
Yeah,
and so I think consciously, let's see how best we can use them as a tool to also push what Ghanaian musicians are doing to introduce their brand to South Africans.
I agree.
Exactly.
Culture is very powerful. It's
very,
a powerful
very
tool
yes.
to sell their country.
Yes.
And this High Commission is all for it. Yeah, that's why when you called and said, I said, hey, I'm going to clear my table, my itinerary, and make room to see you. Because we believe in the creative industry. We think that is the key to go.
Who is your musician? I mean, your favorite Ghanaian musician? Those that you listen to?
Well, of course, I'll do Sarkodie. I also think that Kofi Kenata is doing well. And of late, Black Sherif is, he's doing wonders. And yes, I think these three, they are.
Let's talk about the females. Oh, you don't listen
a
to
female. I'll talk about what's the name of this lady? The daughter of
Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie.
Yes. And Nane Champo.
And Nane Champo, the daughter of Nane. Yeah, Jackie is doing well. His collaboration with Omali is powerful. I love that. I love that. And who again? So Jackie, I think that so far Jackie is doing well. Yeah.
Let's talk about the movie industry. I mean, what people do you also watch?
Okay, so the movie industry, the Ghanaian movie industry is segmented. We have two categories.
The Kumewood.
Oh no, of course. To me, nobody beats a Jacko.
Legendary.
Nobody beats a Jacko.
I see.
Then for the English,
yes.
Domelo is doing well. Now he's a politician. That's good. We want a lot of such people, to come to influence the. I also think that, of course, Jackie Appiah. Jackie Appiah is, Yvonne Nelson. But these days they hardly, shoot.
So you like Yvonne Nelson as well?
Yeah. But I think Jackie is the, the number one. Yeah.
Now let's talk about businesses in South Africa. Ghanaian businesses. What is the plan for them, and what are you also supporting them legally to protect them? Okay,
so traditionally, in terms of South Africa is our second biggest trading partner. Ghana, South Africa, after Nigeria. South Africa is also the second largest or the second biggest economy in Africa. But in terms of industrialization, it's number one in Africa.
Yes.
So we would have to take advantage of this collaboration that we have with South Africa. As we speak now, we have an agreement with South Africa that we meet. So we call it a binational cooperation between Ghana and South Africa. That's championed by the two presidents, President Nana Akufo-Addo and President Cyril Ramaphosa. It's likely that they'll meet this year. But then this gives a very good opportunity for businesses of both countries to meet. Because under this agreement, there are so many sub-agreements where we have, we seek protection from Ghanaians who want to come here to do business, South Africans who want to go to Ghana to do business. Again, in order to make that contact very, traffic free and very fluid, by the end of this year, we'll be waiving visas for all categories of passport holders. So for you, example, if you want to come to South Africa, let's say, we are hoping by the end of this year, if this move happens, you'll not need any visa. You only pick your passport, then you just come in. The framework has been done. We are only left with the agreement. The agreement will be signed by the two foreign
So it means that if I'm a Ghanaian and I'm coming to South Africa,
free. You don't need only to get your ticket and your passport, and you come in. A South African will also get his ticket and passport and just go to Ghana. Again, South African Airways, had some issues, so they stopped flying.
Yes.
Now they are coming back.
Transit.
Now South African is coming back. So from the 27th of this month, South African will be flying to Ghana.
Wow.
This is a very good initiative. We came in and we pushed for this.
Amazing.
So South Africa is flying to Ghana from the 27th. So these are all measures to ease some of the bottlenecks that Ghanaian businesses face and all that. Again, this Inter-African Trade Fair that we are talking about, with the support of the Ministry of Trade and Ghana Export Promotion Authority, we are going to have what we call Ghana Day. They are going to come here with so many businesses from Ghana to see if we can partner South African businesses, what we call B2B, so business to business. We'll be having such collaboration here. It's going to be a 1 week, program where business will be pairing businesses to see if we can share best practices, to increase, their volumes of productions and whatnot. As we also speak now, we have about 30 South African businesses in Ghana. We championed this mission. They've been to Ghana, they've met the ministers of trade, they've met Minister of Agriculture, they've met Otumfuo. They're also seeking partners in Ghana. Because these days, nobody's an island. You can't do it alone. We want South Africa to see Ghana as a hub for entering into the West African market. That market is about 350 million population. So once Ghana is seen as the hub, then from there, we can get a lot of these people. And it helps in the long run. We reduce unemployment in Ghana. True. Government also gets more revenue, with the increase in, with the establishment of more businesses and the increase in production. We here, when you speak to Ghanaian companies, they tell you that there are some little challenges that they face, when they are bringing their products here. We've met with SIDA. SIDA is the equivalent of GIPC. We've met them and we are trying to, clarify all these little challenges that Ghanaians face. So trust me that by the end of this year, we'll be having a very smooth process, for Ghanaian businesses. They can come in, and do their businesses. Like I was saying, traditionally it's been the minerals, we have Anglo Gold Ashanti, we have the timbers, we have the, but now we want to promote more of the non-traditional exports, the kente, like what, we are wearing and some of these things,
From Tribe Africa.
Okay. So we want to promote more of such people and that helps. And so far, I think that the signs are really, really good.
Amazing. I'm happy to hear some of these things that you've mentioned. One of your strengths is policy making.
Yeah.
And I read that online. And I think that with this whole idea that you are having, before you leave here, there's going to be an improvement.
Yes, I'm looking at, but I don't work alone. I have a very solid team here.
Yeah, so take me through
my deputy.
Your deputy.
And,
what's his name though?
Japheth. Japheth is doing extremely well.
Okay.
He also has a lot of experience. He served in Geneva. He served in Saudi Arabia. He served in Liberia. Apart from that, here we also have a military, what we call a defense attaché. To
explain that.
Okay, so. This mission is classified from the standpoint of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's a very big mission, a large mission. So we have what we call a military attaché. That serves as a bridge between the military here, or the Ministry of Defense here, and that of Ministry of Defense in Ghana. So they have this collaboration. They train together. They share ideas and all that. We also have a trade office here, where we have trade experts. Who are into South Africa. South Africa is a very big hub, for businesses. So you have a trade that we go out seeking investments, seeking partnerships between South Africans and Ghanaians. Yeah, so it's been good, and so far we think that I think that the support that I'm getting from my people here, and also from the ministry, the Minister of Foreign Affairs has been so good, very very helpful. I can say that probably I'm blessed because I work with her,
Nice.
the ministry, and prior to that, when I was the director for international affairs for the NPP, she was also the ranking member of foreign affairs, in parliament. So we used to travel with the president, and he was the opposition leader. Then we used to travel together, and that was when we started having that relationship. And I went to the ministry, and so far it's been good. It's been good. Yeah.
Now, do you have only Ghanaians working here?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so we have, apart from Ghanaians, we have some South Africans working, but majority of the staff here are Ghanaians.
Ghanaians.
But we have some few South Africans, some few Congolese, some few Cameroon, one Cameroon, one Congolese, and some few South Africans. But most are Ghanaians. Yeah.
So, have you tried any food from South Africa?
Yeah, South Africa, their meat. They love the meat. Yes, and then some of their local delicacies.
So which one have you found that you eat every day? I came and they introduced pap.
Pap. Yeah, that's their staple. That's their staple food here.
Like
yes.
fufu in Ghana.
Yes, there's like fufu in Ghana. So you do that, and their meat. The lamb, the steak.
Yes.
Yeah, and then that's also far. But I always combine that with the Ghanaian. The Ghanaian in me. You carry that anywhere you go. Yeah, so it's always, but it's fun. I'm enjoying my time in South Africa.
Good.
Seriously.
What's the most difficult part of your work?
Right. So sometimes you are confronted with situations where it's really really difficult. So you are here and you have a situation where a Ghanaian will call you that I've been incarcerated for a crime that I've not committed. They say I've done this, like I've say raped somebody, but I didn't do it. The matter has gone to court. I had a lawyer, but then I've been found guilty. What do? You get it. So you go to meet the Ghanaian, you speak to the person tells you that I didn't do it. So are you sure? So I didn't do it. I wasn't there, but the person is a Ghanaian. You are bound because it's a citizen.
To protect him.
You would have to do whatever it takes, So sometimes you engage the services of a lawyer to see if you can have an appeal, process, and then that's what we've been doing. So we've also had a situation where a Ghanaian was knocked down by a vehicle, and then the person is in a coma, and when we got the news and we went there, when I saw him, I just shed tears. This somebody who's come here to see greener pastures. He's got family in Ghana. Then this unfortunate incident happens. When it happens this way, you're just helpless. What can you do?
So it means that you take funds from the embassy to go and help.
Yes, but before you do that, we support.
Okay.
Because there's a Ghanaian. He's called you that he needs help. He cannot afford it. He needs help. What do? You can't leave the Ghanaian there, to die. No. So when we get some of these requests, we write to Accra to seek the permission of the foreign minister, to use some of the funds here to take care of Ghanaians. Sometimes you get to a situation where the demands will be so much that we cannot even afford. So we fall on the foreign minister. Foreign minister will get in touch with the chief of staff's office at the presidency. Then they will release some monies, to do this. And then we are doing that for a lot of Ghanaians here because that's our duty, to seek the interest and welfare of Ghanaians. That's the cardinal reason why I'm here, to seek the interest and the welfare of Ghanaians in South Africa and the countries that I have concurrent accreditation.
Amazing. This has been a very wonderful conversation. Now, when I was coming, I think that prior to this interview, I spoke to you about the fact that you hardly hear drivers horning anyhow. For you have been here for 3 months. If you have to change something in Ghana, what would that be? Looking at the system here and that of Ghana.
Well, I think that it's the observation you've made is, I think it's right. People hardly took their horns here. I think that's akin to what we have in Europe and in America, where hardly would you hear, somebody tooting the horn or blowing the horn, but in Ghana, everywhere, ping, ping, pong, pong, and yeah. So I think that education would help. And but what I always say that when you travel to a certain place, it should also cut both ways. Reciprocity. There are certain things that they can also learn from us.
True.
There are so many things that they can learn from us, and of course, what you just said is one of the things that we can learn from South Africa. One other thing that they can also learn from us is we love people. We are
hospitality.
The hospitality.
Yes.
No country beats Ghana.
True.
We create that platform for visitors.
That
Sometimes people even say that a hawk walk crossing here.
Okay.
You get it? Yeah, that's the Ghanaian, system. We love people. So hardly will you hear Ghanaians going to vandalize properties. And look at what happened during the looting and the burning of property. You watch that in Ghana. Hardly will you see Ghanaians going to the Accra Mall, to burn. And so these are some of the things.
The person trust them.
So we can learn from each other.
Now your final word before we take leave of you.
Yeah, so Kobe, thank you so much for this opportunity. And let me say that we are here to do business. We think that there are a lot of opportunities here. We to do three things. One, to seek the interest and wealth of Ghanaians here and the countries that I listed, Lesotho, Eswatini, Seychelles, and Mauritius. And also to create that environment for investors here, to have partners in Ghana. Because it's not only about sending businesses in Ghana. We have a lot of South African businesses in Ghana. If you look at the banking sector, if you look at the banking, Stanbic Bank, FNB Bank, Absa Bank, they are South African banks. You look at MTN, you look at Anglo Gold Ashanti, you look at Accra Brewery, it's now owned by South African companies. This ShopRite game, so many South African, that's what we want to see happening. We also want to see a lot of Ghanaian businesses in South Africa. Yes. We shouldn't be a one-way thing. We should be reciprocal. So many. So I'm also pushing to get so many of these Ghanaian companies here. So it's good that your friend has started this, business. We will support him. If I'm supposed to get some of his thoughts.
I actually plan to bring you one, but
don't worry, we'll buy them because I don't want you. I don't want you to use all your capital. I'll buy some of your stuff so that at least every Friday I can also be marketing. That's good. That's what we need to do to promote our own businesses. And I think that the future is bright. We intend to fulfill the mandate of the president, and trust me that by the time of my tour, by the time we finish my service here, we would have had so many of South African businesses flourishing in Ghana. Likewise, so many Ghanaian businesses flourishing in Ghana. And once we have Ghanaians traveling without visas, South African traveling without visas, that will be the icing on the cake for me.
I really want to witness that.
It will happen by the end of this year.
Great. Now you mentioned that you are active on social media. If you can share your platform or Twitter.
Okay, so on Twitter, I'm Charles Reid with 3. Yeah, Charles.
I think I saw you tweeted that picture with you and CK Akono.
Yeah. Oh, you've reminded me. So when the Black Stars came, of course, we hosted them.
Yes, I saw
the President Nana Akufo-Addo called and said that we should make sure that whatever it takes, for the Black Stars to win the match, we should. So, of course, we laid the red carpet. We met them at the airport. We were with them at the hotel. We ate together. We motivated them. We did all that we had to do. But then sometimes God knows best. But
you have to
but there's also an opportunity for us to play the return match in Ghana.
But are you happy CK Akono is going?
Not that I'm happy. I will not be happy for somebody to lose his job. It's not a good thing. But if Ghanaians think that this is the way it should go, if the administrators, the GFA,
but I think we don't have patience because there are some other countries. They will fail and still keep their coaches for them to work.
Football.
Mistake,
football. It's the passion of the nation. If you watch the Premiership. Mourinho and all others. Once you fail to perform, you're fired.
That is Chelsea, though.
Yeah, that's how the game is. Yeah, I wasn't happy, but then for somebody to lose his job. But this is what Ghanaians, we want to qualify for the World Cup, and that's the overriding principle. That's the overriding wish of Ghanaians. So if somebody will come in to ensure that this is achieved, then so be it.
So who do you want to pitch?
Well, whoever Ghanaians, whoever the
No, but who do you have at the back of your mind?
Well, I don't want to commit myself. But then when they came in, I spoke to people like Randy Abbey, Dr. Randy Abbey. He was also part of the administrators that came and were thinking, especially when we lost the match, we thought that we could have done better. And I hear that is himself and Mercado. I also spoke to Mercado when he came. Mercado was part of the team that came, and then I think that with the committee that they've set, chaired by Mercado, they should be able to get somebody who's competent to be able to get us to.
Will you pitch Stephen Appiah?
Well, I don't know about that. I don't want to make any. I don't want to conjecture. But whoever they bring, I'm willing.
100% support. Well, it's as if the passion really has reduced, because those days when Ghanaian players are playing, I mean, taxi drivers with their flag. These days you don't see that zeal anymore.
Yes, I think it all started winning after we lost that quarter-final match at the World Cup.
Yes.
In South Africa. Yes, that's. But then since then, but once the tournament starts and the Black Stars perform well,
exactly, the performance will bring back the energy.
People will come back, to support. And if you also remember with this last match that we're just talking about, most of our players from the English league couldn't make it because of the restrictions with COVID and whatnot. Yes, but then for the subsequent matches, they will be coming in. So I think that we still have a chance to qualify for the next stage of the World Cup. Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Kobich. I want to say a big thank you to Tribe Afrique. They actually sponsored this interview. So I want to say a big thank you to Junior for this, Junior Kakari. And to the rest of the workers here at the embassy, God bless you guys for what you are doing for Ghana, and also to the Honorable for giving us this opportunity. So I want to urge every Ghanaian who is in South Africa, and even those who are in Ghana, you have friends and family here, tell them that this is their home. They can walk in anytime, make inquiries, and see how best we can also improve our lives here with business.